Fierce grace. Two words that to me describe what power looks like, what presence looks like, what purpose looks like when it's fully embodied by a woman. Hi, my name is Christine Arylo, and I'm the founder of the Fierce Grace Experience. I'm a leadership advisor, an MBA, and a person who was trained in the traditional leadership models and how to be a powerful person and, all of that kind of social imprinting that we received. Got the social imprinting on purpose and like, what's your purpose? And so much of that, well, many of it good meaning, not sufficient for the times that we live in right now, and not developed for how women actually work and influence best. So I'm here inviting you to join me and a group of women from all over the world for a 40-day experience called Fierce Grace. Embody, embrace, express your power, your presence, and your purpose. And this is for women who know that they are here to use their voices and their choices to do things differently. I think you and I both know that there's no one coming to save us. There's no one coming to say, okay, ladies, this world's been messed up for a long time. And you know what? I'm just going to come by and sprinkle some fairy dust and it's going to be okay. That would be nice though, right? And we're all kind of tired too. I mean, let's be honest, right? We've been pushing and striving and driving and trying to make a difference through our work in the world, through our relationships for years. And here we stand at this time, which I feel like is the time we've all been waiting for. I'm not surprised by what's going on in the world. We've been heading towards this for a long time. In fact, I've been talking about the things we're going to dive into in this feminine leadership experience for over a decade. But it was like some people would listen, but the world was so busy just going, and maybe you were like me, just trying to keep everything moving and doing your best to get your voice out there, to get the work out there, to make a difference. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you work inside a system or however you manifest. And the thing is, there is a different way. You and I already do it in many ways, but without the language, without the practices, without the space to actually take a step back and look at some of these key areas, what I call the 6 realms of feminine leadership: power, presence, purpose, path, practice, personal sustainability. It's just like we're just trying to keep up. And where I think we are at right now is that we need to be able to sustain and deal with the now and be creating into the new. We can't rebuild right now. We need to actually look at the distortions in our society, some of them that are inside of us. So the way that I have actually built this 40-day practice, which will be me leading it and then co-collaborating with a group of other women who have been living this way and practicing this way and experimenting this way in their own lives and work in the world. And we're also really great experts in certain areas as well. So they're going to come in with me as well, and we'll be doing this together. And the way that I structured this is we're going to have these 6 weeks, 40 days, which is, I've been doing 40-day practices for over probably close to 15 years now. And the great thing about 40 days is it gives you enough space and enough structure to go in and see the things that are not conscious and to practice in your daily life and to try things out. And then your life gets to become the experimentation lab. But the structure that we create in these 6 weeks for you, it's holding you in your life. It's going to be providing models and inquiries and conversation and self-reflective awarenesses and inquiries that are going to illuminate and educate and hopefully inspire you to get some clarity about how you want to move forward into what's next. So it's broken out into 3 sections. You can look here on the invitation page. The first part is power. We're going to dive into power. And what I love about Fierce Grace is that it's like, how do you stand in your circle of power, your presence of fierce grace, when the relationships and situations you're dealing with, so not simpatico. This is like, I always say, this is a little bit like wise woman extreme sports. like how we can show up in our power without adding to the distortion. And also finding those ways in which you have your own power biases. They're called power polarities. And we're going to use a model called the power spectrum, which actually gives language to the feminine and the masculine power and what it looks like when you join those two things together that gives you access to an elevated form of leadership. I think of it like a kayak, right? You need two paddles. And when you have this kayak and you understand how to use the feminine and the masculine, instead of working hard, you work wise. Instead of efforting and being a productivity machine, you experience fluid efficiency. And you become empowered to call out in your relationships, your team, even in yourself, your organizations, what is actually distorted power over, masculine, too much on one side, or even too much on the other side of the feminine distortions. And then we're going to dive into presence before purpose. And presence, I'm so excited to share with you the 8 feminine leadership archetypes. And these archetypes they're deeply rooted in deep, sacred feminine archetypal energy. And my superpower is translating the esoteric, deep wisdom that's been around for a long time and taking that and making it practical and powerful for those who decide to be leaders in their lives, in this world, in their organizations, in their teams, not because of position, although you might have that, not because someone's given you a title, although you might have that too, but because you choose to be a leader, to use your voice and your choice, and to your influence. And so these archetypes, they give us language and name and energy of what feminine presence actually feels like. Probably you've been doing it for a long time, but it's not valued in our society. In fact, it's what usually the organizations and other people rely on us for, but we don't get paid for it. We don't get recognized for it, and we don't even value ourselves for it. So we'll dive into that in presence and start to explore your personal, authentic voice. I don't love the word authentic, but I don't have a better word. It's kind of overused, right? But it really is. It's like the way that you express and your power and your presence, different than what my power and my presence and my fierce grace looks like. And so we want to open up that idea, and not just the idea, but the expression. What do you feel like when you're really in your pure, authentic voice, in your body, in your emotions, and how you're speaking, and have places while we're together to play with that. And then we're going to go into purpose. And we're going to redefine and help you redefine what purpose is, because it is just not set up in any way. You feel like, oh my God, I have to have this big purpose, and it feels like the burden of the world, or you're like, I don't know what my purpose is, and you just keep thinking about that for the rest of your life. That is not purpose. And also, we're going to redefine career and redefine work. And I've been doing this, like I said, for a long time, and the women that were coming to support and collaborate with me have been doing this too. And so we're going to share these models with you. We're going to share the language with you. It's going to be the sessions that we come together for will be 90 minutes where we're teaching, doing self-reflective exercises, group discussion, and using the models and the language that we've been testing for a long time. And then the last half hour of those sessions will be optional. So if you want to actually go into breakouts, we'll have small group breakouts that then will come out and share some of the wisdom. And it's all recorded. So what's great about it is that you're going to be able to, if you can come live to all the sessions, fabulous. If you can't come live to all the sessions, that's okay. They're all taped. And if you want to do this 40 days, the 6-week with us, as we're going through it, we'll keep the pace so you'll show up for yourself and create the space to explore this, including in the section around purpose. How can you best make social, systemic, and personal change? Thing is that there's so much this world needs, dear one, and you have a part and I have a part. And when I gather conscious women together and we start seeing how each other have these parts, all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, I'm so glad you've got that, so I don't have to have that, but I can support you in that. And that is the way forward. This is about how we can work together to actually do this differently. And that's why I've structured this 40 days a little bit differently, in that I am the founder and kind of the primary person who's bringing us through it, but then I'm bringing in these different women so that you can actually see what it looks like when elevated women choose to come together instead of doing it all, just play their part, so that you can do that in your life too. And then hopefully by the time that we leave all this, you're going to have a much clearer idea about where you want to be focused in this next year and where you can make an influence, and where, as former governor of Texas, Ann Richards, apparently said, her daughter-in-law is a good friend of mine and one of the women who, she does all of the art for all of our feminine leadership work. She's an amazing artist, Sharon Zeigan. She said that she asked Anne once, how do you put up with all this macho-ness and all this divisiveness and people trying to stop you here and there? And she said, she just looked at her, she goes, I choose not to waste my chi on that. Just love that. Not wasting our chi on that. And I also don't let them steal my chi. And so how can I show up as a powerful voice, a powerful presence, make an impact without burning ourselves out? And that's where we're going to end the last session around path and personal sustainability, so that you know what you can say no to and what you're saying yes to. And then together we walk forward from here. I have all the hope in my heart that we know inside of us how to move forward. My part is bringing the deep wisdom and translating it into models and systems and language and practice that you can actually use to actually create your own life and the format of that, as well as the organizations, the teams that you work in, and also, or even create yourself, and also the bigger world. Social and systemic change starts with on the inside first. So take a breath. Here's the thing. I promise it will also be fun. Because if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. And it will also be potent. Something that people say to me often is like, Christine, I've learned not to mistake your playfulness for a lack of potency. And actually, when we have the ability to play, and we'll use visual thinking and creativity and inquiry and conversation and co-creation, we actually create from a whole other place within us, which is way beyond our mental mind and taps us into a much deeper field. So I'm going to wrap up here now. I wanted to tape you this video, even though I know it's 12 minutes long, because it's so much easier than me writing some big long invitation page. And if by the time we've now here talked, you're like, I'm not sure, I'm a no. If you're a no, great. If you're a yes or a maybe, come. And if you have any questions, just reach out to my team. It's the best way to get us at wisewoman@arylo.com. And I hope to see you there. So wherever you're at this time right now, just last piece, just take a pause and realize that you are making a difference. You have made a difference in people's lives in this world. And yes, there's more. And if we stay focused on our part, if we are supported by other women and other conscious beings, we will rise, and we are together. So hope to see you soon.